Absolutely. And you mentioned John Jones there, and I don't want to get into a whole, fighter pay discussion or anything, but I'm sure you've been following, somewhat what's been going on with him. He's obviously, UFC and himself are not in the greatest spot right now in terms of the relationship. What do you just hope to see happen with John? I know he feels, he wants certain things, and, UFC has made their opinions very clear. What do you hope to see happen with John in the near future here?
I think everybody wants to watch John fight again.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one, but I think that he's in a place that I don't think he feels pressure. Career in fighting is such a short career, really. It's not, something you're going to do when you're 50 and 60. You got to take advantage of it when those opportunities are there. And so there's that, but there's also some fighters feel like, oh man, I need to fight this many times in a year and I need this and that. Like they're trying to build their career. But sometimes when you get to a spot, it's not like you feel like, man, I need to fight every 3 months. I need to fight every, 2, 3, 4 months. Like I want to be active. I want the more. He's in a place that he's comfortable. He's got a lot going for him in his life. He's, got a family at home. So I don't think right now that he feels this big pressure of like having to just please, everybody. I think he's kind of, I haven't talked to him about this, by the way. Okay. So this is just what I'm saying as far as, it's not like I've sat down and talked to him. I actually haven't seen him in quite some time, but he's spending a lot of time with his family at home, and you never know. That sometimes is just, well, you know what? I've missed out on family time while I've been training here and there, and now I'm kind of enjoying this home time. So I don't think that he necessarily feels pressure, I guess, to get right back in there because he's done so much. It is, like I said, a short window of opportunity to have a career in MMA, but he has done so much that I don't think he feels like he has to. And I think that any fighter, especially in that position, should fight only when they really want to anyway. It's like that way their passions behind it, their wants and their to get in there and really do it. Those are the best fights to watch anyway, when people's hearts are involved. So if they can't come to an agreement, I guess maybe he's just kind of taking it a day at a time too. I don't know.
It's interesting. Obviously, it's going to be a massive fight, but you were here at the start of the year. You were talking to us on the show, and we were sort of joking about how Dustin's running out of excuses not to fight you. Now the fight's official. It's actually happening, but do you think he wanted this fight with you, or do you think it was a situation where he sort of ran out of options and kind of had to take this one?
A bit of both. Yeah, there was no one else above him that's ready to go or willing to fight. So a bit of both. He obviously wants to stay active and he wants to get back in there, and he's obviously hungry to mix it up with someone. And I'm just the best option, Top 5 is still, with a loss, doesn't fall that far down. So there's definite risk, but it's not a huge risk, It's not like I'm a no-name guy, which he's gonna drop out of the top 10 or out of the top 5. He'll still be top 5 after I'll whoop him.
It's funny because Chael Sonnen did a great video about you last year, and I know you know about it, and he was talking about how people seem to be offended whenever you call them out, and we got to say he has a point. People don't really like it when you call them out. Why do you think that is?
I guess it's just the style in which I do. It's not
but you're not offensive.
It's pretty straight to the point. I'm definitely not offensive. Like I try whenever I say things about people, just to try keep it genuine. I might say something that's a little too close to home or a little too true for some people, and that kind of offends them. Like, it's just my opinion. At the end of the day, if I think you suck and I think you can beat you, I think I can beat you. I'm not shy about saying it, but I'm calling them out because they're ranked ahead of me. You don't see me calling people out because they're easy beats. I want the toughest fights, so I call out the biggest names in the toughest fights. So there's nothing disrespectful about there's nothing disrespectful there, I feel.
I feel like we talk about this every time you have a big fight, and that's been happening for quite some time. But we'd be like, all right, so after you beat this guy, do you think it's going to open up the division and everybody's going to take your call-outs differently, and you'll actually have people chasing you because of your ranking and the guy that you beat? And every time we see you win, no one responds. You're chasing these guys around, and then eventually the UFC makes the fight. But do you believe that with this Poirier fight, this is the one, you beat Poirier, all of a sudden these call-outs go differently? Guys are actually chasing you in the division. You don't have to work so hard to get these fights together for yourself.
Well, let's just talk about the facts. I beat Dustin Poirier. There's only 3 fights in my future. That's either fight for the title, fight Tony Ferguson, or fight Conor McGregor. I feel like I have the best claim to the title with a win, especially a stoppage win. I feel like I have a best claim to the title. So I feel like I'm in a position to get called out by either Tony Ferguson or Conor McGregor.
Wow, that'd be fascinating. You know, it's funny though, right?
They can come to me. I'm gonna play it cool for once, I reckon.
Curtis Blaydes, Alexander Volkov. Curtis Blaydes did what I thought he was going to do, which is relentlessly take Alexander Volkov down. The brief times he did stand up, he looked good. Landed some good punches, and Volkov got in trouble briefly. End of the third round? I think it was the end of the 4th round. I'm not quite sure. Got in a little bit of trouble against Volkov, but other than that, he pretty much controlled it. Alexander Volkov really didn't have an answer for a simple double leg. That was kind of surprising to me. Blaydes didn't do anything fancy. There weren't a lot of crazy foot sweeps and trips and weird throws. It was kind of this blast double leg. He didn't even change his level that much. Kind of bowled forward, got the hips, got the knee, and took Volkov down almost every single time. And Volkov just... people talked about his takedown defense accuracy for Alexander Volkov. Well, his takedown defense is 80%. What great wrestlers has he fought? Last one he fought was Tony Johnson in Bellator, and the guy took him down pretty much at will. Sure, it's great in the UFC, but he hasn't fought any standout wrestlers in the UFC. It's been mostly strikers. Fabricio Werdum, of course, great jiu-jitsu, but not a tenacious wrestler who's going to go for it over and over and over again. So a lot of times, once again, like I said about the significant strike stats can be misleading. If you haven't fought a lot of great wrestlers, yeah, your takedown defense is going to be great. Those guys don't have great takedowns. The advantage for Curtis Blaydes is, other than Stipe and DC, he's the best wrestler in the division. So a lot of these guys coming up just haven't taken on a great wrestler until they take on Curtis Blaydes. So he's going to have that advantage. So Curtis Blaydes won a unanimous decision. Of course, Dana White critical of his performance afterward, partly because he's talking about fighter pay and title shots, and Dana doesn't like that kind of stuff. You can't take a performance like this away from him. He fought an elite heavyweight and owned him pretty much for 5 rounds. So the idea that this wasn't an exciting performance, he didn't do enough, I mean, once you speak out about fighter pay, Dana's going to criticize everything you do. That's going to be the issue. He's in a tough spot in that he's the number 4 guy, and he's kind of locked in at number 4. He's already lost to Ngannou twice. I don't think he beats DC or Stipe. So things are going to have to flush out for him to get a title shot. Meaning, they have the trilogy, DC and Stipe. Let's say, for argument's sake, Stipe wins and DC retires. Okay, that's one less out of the way. Ngannou gets another shot. Let's say Stipe beats Ngannou again, then he might get a shot. So it might just take a while for the guys ahead of him to cycle out of their title shots. Then he might get one. He's just in a tough spot right now, and Dana White says he needs to stay busy and active, which is code for I want him to lose and not get the title shot. Curtis Blaydes rightly said, look, I've beaten guys who were ranked under me. Right? Everybody I fought has been ranked under me. I've done my bit. I'm going to kind of wait for my title shot. And the problem is at heavyweight, one punch is the difference. These guys, even a bad puncher at heavyweight can knock you out. So Curtis Blaydes, is he going to stick around and take another risky fight against a guy ranked below him, or is he going to sit around and wait for his title shot? UFC typically hasn't been a big fan of people waiting around for title shots. So I think he's probably going to have to take one more, whether he wants to or not. Who knows who it might be, but they're all dangerous, but I don't see anybody below Curtis Blaydes beating him right now. So he's locked in that 4th spot, and he's eventually going to stay there until he gets the title shot, I think. So great performance by Curtis Blades.
We've seen you very active on social media past couple of days. You want this fight with Conor McGregor that was supposed to happen a few years ago. I guess why right now did you feel this was the time to, rehash that fight and try to push for it again?
Yeah, that wasn't initiated by me. I think Chael Sonnen, he's been posting videos that really opened my eyes and look into the rankings, look in the situation that the whole game is right now. And since me and Conor, I'm ahead of him on the rankings on the welterweight. And this fight supposed to happen like 4 years ago and didn't happen. And I think, man, that'll be a great fight. That's the fight to make it happen.
Yeah, and the last we heard from him, he obviously, I'm sure you saw his Twitter thing saying that he was going to be retiring once again. Are you buying this, or do you think he's just kind of holding out, waiting for a big fight?
Oh yeah, I don't think he's retiring right now. I think if I'm not wrong, that's his 3rd time retiring, and I'm not buying that. I don't think nobody's buying that. He's too young, and I believe he still have a lot on him. I don't think he's retiring right now.
Yeah, and how much do you just think about when that fight was supposed to happen back in March 2016? Like, if you look at your resume, it's the only fight you've ever pulled out of in your entire career, and I'm sure that was insanely difficult for you. And we've just seen the repercussions of that with Nate Diaz stepping in, all that kind of stuff. Their series. How often do you just think about how that whole thing unfolded?
Yeah, man, I think everything happened for a reason, and I got hurt that day. And like you said, I even forgot how many fights I have in UFC. I think maybe 28 or 30 fights. And my whole career, I got 42 fights, and I never pulled out due injury. And that was the first time ever. And I would love to run that fight again. I would love to really have a good camp and get the fight again.
Yeah, and that's when Conor was really kind of on the top of the world, more to say, really coming up, doing his best work in the cage. How do you feel that fight was going to go when it was supposed to happen originally? What was kind of, obviously if you do fight him, you don't want to give away the game plan, but what were you thinking the fight was going to, how it was going to go if you did end up fighting on that date?
Yeah, I have no doubts that I would beat him. No doubts on my mind. I was feeling great sparring. I was training with big guys, and I was training with Lyoto Machida a lot, which has very similar base than Conor. And I was training really good with all those guys, and I had no doubts on my mind.